Good morning, guys. Hope you're doing well. You had a nice weekend and you managed to put your feet up and you enjoyed yourselves and stuff like that. So what happened with the technicals is that we really pumped and it's measuring the risky instruments down here, the Dow Jones, S&P, Nasdaq, VIX, Treasury yields, UK, France, Japan, individual companies, and the dollar index. And obviously, if something's a positive change on the day, it gets a good score. If it's a positive change over the last 5 days, it's got a much better score. And you can see how things are weighted as well. VIX has got a greater weight because we're interested in fear and greed. And this is what really moves the markets. It's not so much technicals, it's more to do with sentiment, I think, in my opinion. So we can see why we pumped because the herd are very short. So there's one person buying, there's nearly 20 people selling. All right, so there's 20 people attempting to sell, these instruments down there, the indices. So we are probably a good place to TP if you were, long. And then the idea is that in the QDB system, in the service, we wait for that to get nice and low, and then we try and get the dip. We get a nice low entry, and then we take profit about 85, 90. And then we repeat. But we never did get that dip last week, so we remain patient there. QDB scores, I guess. Actually, before I do that, note that they're selling Kiwi yen and the long gold, and there's that fact that that represents that move there. So they're selling the New Zealand dollar, so we should see strength on that. And the QDB scores quickly. I'm just going to sort that quickly. And we're seeing how yen is undergoing a bit of pressure, but then we can just see that on the bubble, right? So that's why yen is depreciating because of the scores and also the sentiment as well. So they're very short CAD Gen, and they've added short. So what happens to price? It comes up. All right. So that's how we use the sentiment. Look at where we are and what are they doing over time. So this is where we are currently at this point in time. This is what they've done since the open. And so they sold Kiwi CAD. So what happens? Well, that should be coming up, right? And it has. Okay. Let's show you the robot. Nope. RDP. My RDP is a lot quicker today, which is great. I think maybe it might have been to do with Windows updates. I'm not sure. So there's Kiwi CAD, and we're triggering profits, which is nice. Trading stop is kicked in, and EU longs potentially, but we'll have to wait and see for that. And we had a bad week last Monday because we had a thing. We didn't have a thing called absolute references in the formula, and we've got that now. So basically, it just means like those dollar signs that you might see in a spreadsheet. Whether or not I can show you. Okay, yeah. Basically, here we were missing those dollar signs, which means that it's locked in. So it has to undergo those two checks. It has to check that. It has to check this. So that's the failure rate is high. So the herd are getting screwed, which would be normal. And this is a sufficient move for the trigger, and therefore that's why we got Kiwi CAD longs. And we can see we're making profits, and then that's it. That's the logic. Okay, let's talk about the indices and gold if I can. Well, so we'll start with the Dow Jones. They sold it, so we can draw a box. Any luck? Hopefully it doesn't get slow again. And here, I guess. No, here, this one. It's quite tricky. It might even be this doji. Yeah, no, it's lost a rectangle now. Oh, yeah, yeah. This one is difficult. Let's just draw this one. So therefore, we had a dip into that little demand. You can see there. See? And so because they sold it, that's why it come up. And there's no crossover yet, but if they go long, then we'll make a box, then we'll fall. So this is okay. They sold it, so price is going to come up, which is fine. We know that the herd are short, and they added short. So why, price comes up, okay? S&P. It's probably cross yen was a big clue as well. So what's happening now is that we made a risky sell, so we can maybe draw a box here. So this is currently being a little bit naughty, and so much as that they've gone long. Okay, admittedly they got punished there, but these late longs are getting paid. Okay, so this should be slightly unusual, and we should be below this box, right? But we're not, as you can see. So it's a little bit naughty, and it is what it is. Really, it's not much we can say. Sometimes they have to get paid, and you know, you can see they went long, big, big fall. They went long, fell. However, they're going long. They're just getting paid, so it's probably about right they get paid because they've been absolutely destroyed for a little while. So perhaps there's a momentary payday, maybe even for 40 minutes, they might be allowed to profit, and we'll have to see what happens. They might teeter and they might sell it. They're very quick to sell. So if we do wick above, they'll think that's bearish, and then they'll start selling it, and then we'll probably pump if they sell it. So keep an eye there. And DAX, and of course we're pumping. This is huge. I was saying about Discord is that they'd sold it here, but we would have been above that trend line, more or less. Could just be above, but they've started to sell it. Of course we fell, and they probably thought, oh, we are going to fall. That's fine. We'll continue to hold on to our bearish bets because they've got terrible risk management. It goes up to pump and to crush them. And hopefully these guys are using their risk management ahead. If they don't have any SL, any stop loss, they would have probably been blown up or getting in the process of blowing up right now. Sideways on DAX, it could just be a similar thing today where it's just going to go sideways. Now, unfortunately, we can't show you the SLCs for indices in case you're wondering, but we can see the stop loss clusters, the SLCs for gold, and we've got one at 1965. You can work out why, the logic, and 1940, and you can understand the logic there. So stops here, and they've gone long, so we should be coming down to the one below, and we can draw a box as well. And that's it for today. Let me know if you need any help at all. I won't mind. I need to go and get some I need to get some pet food, funnily enough. My town doesn't have a pet store, so I need to get the bus to the next town, which is a bit crazy. But I'll be back about 11 a.m. probably. So they've gone long, and so we should be falling. But it, like S&P, it's paying them a little bit, so they might sell it. If they sell it, we'll come up to the SLC above at 1965. It all depends what happens here, really. So you know, you can see what happened there. They sold. They got paid a little bit on a little move there, and then you know we pumped and we destroyed those guys. I guess it will happen. It will depend what happens here. If it goes sideways, they might start selling it. If they start selling it, 1965 SLC, which is your stop loss cluster. So you think about it's all liquidity. The narrative is to take liquidity, and the easiest way to do it is by looking at retail stops and to hunt them down. So no doubt you can probably work out what the SLC will be above. If we probe 1965, you can guess where we're going to be above, right? So there's going to be some there, and that's where price might gravitate to. So we'll have to wait and see. All depends what happens here. So if they go long, we'll probably come down to the one below, and that's how it works. So have a good day. I'll be off a little bit, but I'll be back about 11 a.m. and we'll just have to see how we go. And hopefully you understand the logic for the Kiwi CAD trades, right? And it's quite simple, really. It's not really rocket science. And I'll speak to you guys soon. Remember to trade safely at all times.